The library's just closed. See, I've been sitting in the library since lunch, reading the fucking book.
I haven't been in there yet, you know.
Right, it's cool.
I've been in Brisbane about 2 months and I still haven't had the chance to
Get in the library.
look around enough.
Yeah.
So it's Bob.
Bob, yes, Bob, mate. Bob.
How long have you been on the streets?
Oh shit, mate. Growing up. You see what happens is the parents broke up. I went to live with my grandfather. I've been on the street since about 15, mate. I'm 65 in November.
You're 65 in November?
I'm 65 in November. In April I get a pension.
Mate, you look really good at it.
Oh mate, I'm fit because I haven't had the money to excess myself, if you know what I mean. I haven't had too many excesses.
Yeah.
I've never had the fucking money for it.
Sorry, I'm just recording the conversation as well, if that's alright.
Not a problem, mate. Not a problem at all. I'm 65 in November, but I've got to wait till I'm 65 in 6 months before I can get a pension.
What?
It's just the way it works. You don't get a pension at 65.
Oh, that's bollocks.
Yeah, that's right. Tell me about it, mate. Tell me about it. 65 in 6 months. But soon it's going to be 70. I mean, you pity the poor bloody bricklayer that's got to work until he's 70, for God's sake.
It's just, money's getting stretched and stretched and stretched.
Yeah, mate, yeah. There's millions of us baby boomers that are on the pension or coming up.
You said...
Yes?
You said you've been homeless from about 15 and...
Since about 15.
You mentioned your parents splitting up.
Yes.
How old were you when your parents split up?
I don't ever remember seeing my parents together. Ever.
How do you mean?
I think I've got a funny suspicion that my parents, the person my mother was married to, split up probably a bit longer before I was born than was legitimately. What I'm saying is, for a while there, I stayed with my dad, I stayed with my mum, I didn't get on with either, but I've heard my dad arguing with his next wife about who the fuck was that son, who's that kid, because I've got an elder brother.
Yeah.
Whose is that kid, if you know what I mean?
Sure.
Talking about me, I clicked on later on when I was about 15, who does that kid belong to? He's not yours, an argument. So from there becomes identity issues, I think.
And you felt unsure of who you were.
I think I've become a little bit bitter and says, well, fuck you too, what am I doing here? Why am I bothering doing this? Because I didn't like my father particularly.
That I understand. I mean, I didn't really get on with my mum and dad.
No, I don't get on with mother or father.
Were they hard to you?
Yeah. Both my parents took up with other people that were also, because my mother took up with a coloured bloke and it was obvious that I didn't belong to him. My father was saying, oh, you know, that kid in there, he's not fucking mine. But that's where it starts, you see, Chris. And for him and I, you know, it's a struggle, and I'm actually quite glad because I'm a lot better off than my brother. If it had been my real dad, I'd be fat and bald. Sorry, old mate. No. I had a spider crawling across me. No, you're right. No, I wasn't worried about you blowing, mate. I don't have a problem with that at all.
So how does that make you feel when you think your parents didn't value you?
Well, I had a little secret there because my grandfather, my mother's father, took me on, and he actually loved me. He showed me love. This was between the years, because I got taken off my mother when I was about 3 or 4, and I went to live with my grandfather. Now my grandfather was the father of 12 kids, my mother being one of the youngest, and he raised me, and he really actually liked me, and I could tell that he liked me. So that gave me all the arrogance in the fucking world that I've got, you see, because you know somebody actually likes you.
Yeah.
You know how that feels?
Yeah, of course.
From being thrown around with your parents and going to live with your grandfather. But he was a poor, tired old bugger. That had already had 12 kids. His wife had died, my grandmother had died already. And yeah. But anyway, enough of that. Have you got anything else you want to go on about? Because it's just about that's all part of it, see? That's part of being homeless. You have this broke up family life.
Would you say that the majority of people who are homeless have that story, have a similar
Yes, I'd say
understanding?
so, mate. Yes, I think so. And settlement in the family life was a lack of empathy. You don't sort of feel anything for everyone because you weren't shown love as a kid, as a small baby, as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
You weren't shown love from a mother or a father. From a grandfather, sure. There's a limit to what a grandfather can do, I mean. I think it does. I think it affects mentally. It becomes a mental, and once again it homes on from being homeless as social and mental problems. Then what to do with it?
And what about?
Okay.
No. I completely agree, and it's actually what I believe, and some of that is what I'm setting out to try and prove.
Right. I haven't always got the words that tell you exactly what I feel, but I'm sort of giving you the rough idea of how I feel about it all. I haven't always got the words to explain how I feel, if you know.
It's
Does
okay.
that make sense?
No,
Yeah.
I understand. Sometimes I struggle with what I'm trying to.
Yeah,
the words
trying to
I'm-
get through.
What you're trying to articulate.
Yeah, articulate. Yeah.
So when did you first turn to drugs?
Oh shit. I would have been 20 odd. There was a bloke called Mr. Asia was bringing Buddha sticks into the country, and he was bringing them by the bucket load, and so I smoked a bit of weed. In the meantime, before then, a lot of my friends were smoking weed. I wasn't interested for some reason. I was a drunk. I loved to drink. Smoked a bit of weed, got turned on to that. Come down to Brisbane. Mr. Asia was in Brisbane selling heaps of heroin. Heroin was cheaper than marijuana. I started using heroin. They took Mr. Asia, went to try and set up a market in England. Do you know what I'm talking about? Terry Clark, the Mr. Asia organisation back in the early 70s.
I'm afraid I don't know.
Okay. Well, he ended up, the Irish sat on him and killed him. I think it was some jail over there in Holdsworth, I think, because he was fairly well connected, because he had lots of money. He was bringing in cases and cases of heroin into Australia. They call it Mr. Asia because he was getting a lot of it from Asia and doing New Zealand and Australia, and he was trying to set up a market in England. This is according to the books. As I said, I've just come from the library.
I know, it's really bad.
Yeah.
I picked the worst day to try and... It's almost if I'd like to put a microphone on you, it might be a bit easier.
Yeah, no, you're right, mate. Sure. I do tend to verbal on a little bit, but...
like I said to you, I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. Drugs, yeah, okay, at a young age. Yeah.
Sorry?
I haven't had drugs. I had a joint probably about 3 months ago, and before that it was 4 years since I had a joint. So I don't touch drugs, so I don't drink alcohol anymore.
That's
I'm
awesome.
straight as.
I mean, well, you're probably straighter than a lot of people
yeah.
who do have a home and who aren't.
But you sort of get used to being homeless. I choose to be homeless.
Do you?
Yeah.
Would you ever like it to be another way?
When the pension comes up in April, there's 206 days until the 10th of April. If you work it out now, today's date is the 16th of September.
Yeah.
206 days, it's the 10th of April. That's when I get a pension. I get 900 and something. I get 800 plus a fortnight, but with me rental assistance, I'll get 900. So I'm going to move into somewhere to live. I'm going to end up with a little house, hopefully with a dog and hopefully with chooks. Yes, to answer your question in a roundabout way, I would like it to be different, Chris, but I haven't quite got the money at the moment to be able to do it. Whereas when I get on a pension, I just hope it's in the future. I hope these things change.
Do you think that if people or society looked at you differently and
Oh yes.
perhaps were a bit more understanding of why you come to find yourself in the situation you do and how you come to find yourself on the streets, do you think that would enable you to perhaps
Change.
not necessarily change, but maybe get the help you need or get the bit of confidence you need to give yourself the ability to change, for want of a better word?
Okay. I dress to look homeless. This is a fine art. I don't cut my hair, I don't shave my beard. I've got holes in my clothes. I wear a belt as a tie so that people will give me things. I'm sorry.
No,
that's the finest point. So because people do give me things. People will say, "Hey man, you homeless?" I say, "Well, yeah, a little bit, you know, it's not a problem." "Oh, well, here's $10.
But that's almost how. That's almost
they
like
enable me.
That's almost survival mechanism,
yeah.
Rather than if what I asked was if people treated you differently or understood the reasons why.
Sure.
Do you think you wouldn't be in the situation you're in? You said to me that you wouldn't. If in an ideal situation, when you get your pension, you'd like to have your house with a dog.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, you'd rather do that earlier. What would you need, or what would need to change about people's views, or the way you're treated, or anything to help you get to that quicker?
That's a hard one, Chris, because I've been doing it for so goddamn long. That is a hard one. I've got used to it. You know, that's a hard one. What can people do for me to help me not become homeless? Homeless is the only thing I know. It's all I know. I said to my son, because in the meantime I'm doing all this, I've got married and I've had 3 kids. I said to my son the other day, because I told him I'm coming up to getting a pension, I'm going to move into a house. And I said to him, well, it's going to be scary to actually have a toilet inside the house, to have a bed and a fridge, a bed and